Imagine going to bed on a calm, cool night and waking up to a planet transformed beyond recognition. The polar ice caps, gone. Every glacier, every frozen mountain peak, every ounce of Arctic and Antarctic ice completely melted, not over years or decades, overnight. At first glance, you might think it's just a lot of water, but that water, currently locked away in ice, holds the key to Earth's balance. If all of it melted instantly, the consequences would be nothing short of catastrophic. Let's start with the obvious: sea levels. The immediate rise in ocean water would be colossal, around 70 meters or 230 feet globally. Coastal cities like New York, London, Shanghai, Mumbai, and Tokyo completely submerged. More than 1 billion people living in coastal areas would be displaced in a matter of hours, creating the largest refugee crisis in human history. But it doesn't end there. Entire countries, Bangladesh, the Netherlands, island nations in the Pacific, would vanish beneath the waves. Historic landmarks, cultural sites, infrastructure, all gone, swallowed by the ocean in one terrifying night. And now let's talk climate. The ice at Earth's poles acts like a giant mirror, reflecting sunlight back into space and keeping the planet cool. Without that reflective surface, Earth would absorb far more solar radiation. Temperatures would rise sharply, triggering more extreme weather events, deadly heat waves, and devastating droughts across regions already struggling with climate stress. Freshwater systems would be in chaos. Glaciers feed major rivers like the Ganges, Yangtze, and the Colorado, supplying drinking water and irrigation to billions of people. With no ice feeding them, these rivers would surge briefly, then run dry. Cities and farms would face immediate water shortages. Conflict over access to water would become inevitable. And then there's the ocean circulation. The melting of polar ice disrupts the delicate conveyor belts that move warm and cold water across the globe, regulating temperature, weather, and marine ecosystems. A sudden surge of fresh water could shut down the Atlantic Meridional, overturning circulation, the very system that keeps Europe relatively warm and parts of the southern hemisphere cool. Without it, Europe could plunge into an ice age even as the rest of the world burns. Marine life wouldn't be spared either. Melting freshwater dilutes salt levels in the ocean, changing currents and killing off sensitive species. Coral reefs would bleach and die. Fish populations would crash. The food chain would destabilize, impacting both ocean and land ecosystems. And as sea ice melts, something else is released: methane. Large amounts of this potent greenhouse gas are trapped in permafrost and beneath Arctic ice. Melting it all at once would release billions of tons of methane into the atmosphere, amplifying global warming in a runaway feedback loop. Economically, the collapse would be swift and brutal. Ports would flood, supply chains would snap, crops would fail, markets would crash, insurance systems couldn't cope, entire nations would be pushed to the brink of collapse, not in years but in days. And what about us? Where would we go? How would we feed ourselves? How do you evacuate over 1 billion people overnight? You don't. Society would fracture, panic would take hold, governments would declare martial law, borders would close, and survival would come down to one thing: where you happen to live when the ice disappears. Because this isn't just a natural disaster, it's a global reset. Earth has been through ice ages and warm periods before, but never has all the ice vanished in a single night. It's not just a climate change story, it's a warning of how delicate, interconnected, and dependent we are on forces we rarely think about. The ice on this planet isn't just frozen water, it's a thermostat, a shield, a lifeline, and without it, we're left drowning in the consequences.